All right, here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Finance, Business, and Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Adina Applebaum. I am recording this episode while going live on our Immigrant Finance Community Instagram page. So, thank you, those of you who are here watching live. Really appreciate having you. And at the time of this recording, there have been three banks that have collapsed in the past few days, which is a pretty big deal, right? Pretty big deal. There's a lot of fear going on, a lot of insecurity, instability people are feeling. These bank crashes have actually been the second biggest great bank crash in US history. So that's pretty significant. The Silicon Valley bank crash in particular is the largest bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis. And that's when we had the Washington Mutual Bank collapse. So, totally understandable if you're feeling a little nervous right now, if you're feeling a little scared. But I want to help you feel more confident going into this and not let the money fears that are naturally coming up during a time like this control you, because fear is actually the worst thing that can happen when the economy is getting unstable. Fear is what is going to prevent you from taking advantage of opportunities to grow your money, build wealth during this time, take advantage of opportunities. Fear is what's going to keep you stuck in a panic mode, right? If you want to listen to the last episode, the two episodes ago I had was all about the nervous system and how we can be in fight or flight mode when we have fear going on, especially with money, right? And that really just prevents you from growing as a person, from growing your money, from being financially strong. And it's not necessary, because as we'll talk about in this episode, actually economic downturns are when wealthy people make wealth, right? That's how it goes. So if you look at, we're going to talk about some of the millionaire families in the US. Many of them built their wealth during economic downturns, in particular during the Great Depression, right? In the 1930s, there were a lot of American millionaires created during that time because they chose to basically go with expansion over fear. So that's what we're going to talk about here. And I want to give you another narrative to hold on to besides fear tonight, despite these big collapses happening, because you all deserve better, right? You deserve to be able to know how the wealthy think when these things happen, how to act, how the wealthy think. We need to get this information in the hands of, everyday people, people who have not been grown up in like these millionaire families with trust funds, right? Who understand how the markets work, who understand what to do when economies get shaky. Instead, the majority of Americans are just fed information in the news about fear, and that puts the society in a state of fear. And that's actually a lot of what contributes to and exacerbates economic recessions and downturns, because it all becomes emotional. Everybody starts acting from fear, and then things get worse. People start pulling their money out of banks, and it all becomes like a societal psychological response. So not only is it not good for the whole economy, right, if we all go into fear mode, but it's not good for your personal finances and for your family's best interest, because that's going to prevent you from making decisions that would allow you to actually be potentially building wealth during this time. So, as we're talking about, let me take a sip of tea. Hold on. Thank you very much. So, lots of people are freaking out right now. We've had numerous people in our community reaching out, feeling scared, asking what to do because of the bank collapses happening, wanting to understand how it impacts them, wanting to know if they should pull out their investments, right? What's going to happen? So, um, you know, sadly, this kind of response is of fear coming up is what keeps the majority of people in a place of fear and contraction when these economic instability things happen. when, again, wealthy people actually know during these downturns, it's one of the best times to pursue opportunities and build wealth, and basically do the opposite of what the majority of people are doing. So, as I mentioned, the number of millionaires who made their wealth was actually the highest ever in American history during the Great Depression, which was like the greatest economic downturn, right? Because those families chose expansion instead of contraction. They chose opportunity instead of getting paralyzed by fear. And that's what we all need to do when these things happen. And most content you're going to be hearing is going to be talking about protecting yourself and the fear and keeping yourself safe. And so you got to be smart about what information you're digesting and what you're letting like overwhelm your brain, because that can just like keep you in that fear, panic, fight or flight mode and make everything worse. Look for the people who are having conversations like this who are talking about expansion instead, right? And if you want to hear more about like expansion during times of recession, episode 133 of the podcast goes into that. That would be